Just contacting YouTube. See what happens.
Do you want me to do that as well?
No, no.
Okay.
You're on there.
Oh, am I? Okay.
As soon as it opens up. No showing off. Come
That's
on.
That's the best I can do.
That's better than I could do. Let me go on it a different way. You know, I got a virus this weekend, and it took me 2.5 days to get all my files back.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So don't open anything up anymore.
Well, no. I mean, I've got, I use a Mac, so it's usually quite good.
You know what? I had to call my company that I use for backup and for virus. And what they did, they took care of it. Not a problem.
Right.
All right. Now, can you see? You're going to see yourself.
I can't at the moment.
They took care of it. Not a problem.
Shall I? Oh, hang on. What's happening? Something's happening.
You tell me when you're on.
Do you want me to go onto YouTube?
Yeah, well, let me give you the link. Hold on. This stuff gets crazy. I feel more of a computer programmer than a musician.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
There you go. Hit that. It's in your Facebook. Did you get that?
Oh, okay. Hang on.
This is actually the first one I'm doing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so you're on, but we got a bad what you call connection. Are you moving around? You need to turn the volume off on the computer, but on the screen that we're broadcasting on. You have it on?
Okay, I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, hit the what you call the volume button on the video itself. Turn it off.
The volume button. Oh, I see. Okay, hang on. All right, I've done it.
You did it? All right. Now, all right. The reception seems to be pretty good. You there?
I can see your studio.
All right. You can't see me. Well, you can't see. Do you see my hand?
I can't see me. I can see a picture of me.
Yeah, but you see my hand?
Not at the moment.
There's a big delay on this thing.
There is.
Yeah.
Oh, I see your hand now.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right.
All right. We have bandwidth. It's a problem here.
But I can. Your hand is waving now.
Wait a minute. Disable. I see. It's solved, it says. Now, can you see me better?
No.
Let me see. If I turn Skype off, I don't know if that's going to work. No, that won't work. That won't work.
Don't do that.
No. Okay. We're online. So, did you get the link?
Well, I've hit it. I'm looking at YouTube.
Okay.
So I can see your studio.
Right.
I can see a picture of me. I can't see me. I mean, I can't see what.
I don't know why that is.
Because when we did it the other day, I could see me moving about.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why that is.
Because when we did it the other day, I could see me moving about.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know why that is.
Because when we did it the other day, I could see. Can you see me all right? Moving about.
We're getting a lot of feedback. Okay. I don't know why that is.
Because when we did it the other day, I could see. Can you see me all right? Moving about.
We're getting a lot of feedback. Is that better? Can you hear me? I don't know why that is.
I can hear you. Because when we did it the other day, I could see. Can you see me all right? Moving about.
We're getting a lot of feedback.
But I can't see you.
Is that better? Can you hear me? I don't know why that is.
I can hear you. Because when we did it the other day, I could see. Can you see me all right? Moving about.
I can see you. We're getting a lot.
You can see me, can you?
There you go. I only can see a picture of you.
Yeah, I can only see a picture of me.
I don't know why that is. I should be able to see you.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
Oh man, I'm gonna try to turn Skype off. Maybe that'll work.
Well, we'll lose our connection, won't it?
I don't know. If I do, I'll call you right back.
Okay.
Stay on the line.
All right.
Come on, Skype. Where'd you go? Oh, yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, I know. I'm going to turn you off. Now, can you hear me? I don't know. It's a better connection.
Hi.
But if I turn you off, I can't, it won't work. Do you have a camera?
Oh, Matt, it'd take me ages to find it.
Well, that's why I can't see it.
No, but there's a camera on the computer.
Well, that should be a camera. Yeah, okay.
I mean, last time we did this, you could see me. Remember the other night?
Yeah, I can see you. I don't know why. I don't know why this is. Let me go on to another file. Just see. I'm trying real hard to get this thing right.
Yeah.
Let me see if I go on here. Where did it go? Oh man. Pictures of you. My studio. Another picture. And we're back on Skype, and all I see is a picture. I don't know why that is.
Well, I can see your studio better now.
Well, you can see my studio because I'm going to take the picture like that. I wanted to see you live.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. All right. Let's see what happens. If anybody's there. Nobody. We're going to have to deal with this right now like the way it is, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Let me see the settings. Hold it. Somebody counting over there?
What? Somebody what?
Was counting?
Counting?
Yeah. Could you see there's a chat box over there. I'll tell you. I guess it's to your right of the screen. I'm going to say hello to you.
What am I looking at? Skype?
No, you're on YouTube.
Okay.
Okay. And I just put hello to you in the chat.
Oh, yeah, I see it.
Okay. Say something. Say hello back. There's nobody here yet.
What, type it, you mean?
Yeah. Doesn't it drive you crazy? There you go. All right. Now, we have to... I made this for 3:30. There's two people watching, me and you, I guess.
Yeah.
All right. That's what it says.
That's a good start.
Yeah. Well, I told everybody, it was at 3. I guess we got confused, because it was actually 3 o'clock Eastern Standard, would have been 8 o'clock your time, correct?
Yeah, which it is now. It's 20 past 8 now.
Okay. Man, you got some nice hands.
I've got the right amount. One on each side.
All right. Let's start talking about Susie Quattro.
Okay.
How long were you with her?
8 years.
Wow.
I joined her original drummer was a guy called Dave Neal, and he played on all the hits. He was with her for 12 years and played on all her big hits. And he left in 85, and I joined the band. And the first show was a tour of Australia. So it was straight in, 5 weeks touring.
That's
2
nice.
weeks, 2 weeks rehearsals. And then we did the show every night for 5 weeks. So I knew it by the end.
Were you doing big venues or what?
Quite big. They have a thing called the Return Soldiers League clubs, the RSL clubs over there. And they're very, very big clubs. And she played a lot of those. So there'd be 2,000, 3,000 people every night.
Feedback.
But I can't see you. What she would do, she'd play every night. So instead of doing one big show to 20,000 people, she'd play every night in that area. So like you go to Sydney, you spend 2 weeks in Sydney just playing every club in the area. And then we move on to Melbourne and do the same thing.
That must have been a great experience for you.
It was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Because it was a little bit easier than usual touring because we come back to the same hotel every night.
That helps.
Yeah, so it wasn't. So actually, you could dig in to this hotel, which was fantastic, really good.
It's like
And it
going
was
home every night.
a little bit, yeah, yeah. And the bar was always still open.
Well, I stay out of that.
Yeah.
But
So and it was a great band as well. It was really good fun.
well, she was playing mainstream, wasn't she?
What do you mean?
Well, mainstream music as opposed to you stretching out and doing your own thing inside
No,
of the music.
it was a rock and roll band.
Okay, I know.
So it was a show. You know,
Uh,
you could put another note in, or you could put another fill in, and if she didn't like it, she'd catch your eye.
she turned around and give you.
Yeah, yeah, and but if she did like it, she'd turn around and smile.
There
So
you go.
we had but one night she said to me, "Why didn't you do that fill in the middle of I may be too young," or something like that? And I said, "What fill?" She said, "The fill that you always do at the end of the second chord." And I said, "Well, I just didn't do it. I don't know why I didn't do it. I just didn't do it." She said, "You got to do this because I'm relying on hearing that, and I do a little movement." And I didn't realize how much of a show it was. You know, every step she took was choreographed. If you see what I mean.
Yeah.
So you could mess around a little bit with a fill here or an accent there, but she kept her eye on you. So it was a very good show to do. I really enjoyed it.
Well, how old were you?
26,
And how old are you now? 27?
57, 57.
Yeah, I'll tell you, time flies by.
Well, yeah,
It really does. But, it's a great experience, especially going on the road. You get to meet all kinds of people, all kinds of crazy people.
you do.
Yeah.
And you've got to be able to handle it.
Absolutely.
That's the thing. There is an art to touring, and it's not easy. So you have to develop a very good attitude to where you are and what it is you're doing. I was always a very bit, a little nervous of going sightseeing.
Well, you got to be taught. You have to have a great tolerance for that. Back
Well,
up and
yeah, because you've got to be back at the hotel for lobby call at a certain time. I was very aware that the only reason I was in Australia or Japan or Belgium or wherever it was, I was only there to do the show. I wasn't there on holiday. I wasn't there
right.
to necessarily have a good time. I was there to do the show.
Well, you had a day off, right?
We very rarely had days off. Very rarely.
Well, that's a good thing too. You're always playing.
Yes, Susie didn't like days off.
All right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Even if we were traveling from especially in Australia, there comes a moment you've got to leave Sydney and go to Melbourne. So we might not do a show that night, but it's not a day off. It's a travel day. It's a day you either a very long van drive or a plane. So you might not work that night, but it's not really a day off.
Yeah, well, everybody thinks it's glorious to go on the road. They don't realize, you're out of your environment. You go into a new environment. Psychologically, you really have to put yourself in tune to that, and you have to deal with it.
Yeah, and you can make it fun if you understand how that world is turning. If you really realize where you are and what you're doing and why you're there, then you can start to enjoy yourself. But you've got to be. It's really weird with different people as well because, we're hiring in backing singers and you're hiring in road crew, and you're meeting the guy who's setting your drums up for the first time. You've got to get on with that person.
Of course.
And you've got to be very diplomatic in different ways. And I found I was quite good at that. I was very good at not getting into trouble.
I'll tell you, I have a problem with that. I'm older, much older than you are.
Right.
I'm 70 years old.
Wow, well done.
Yeah, well, and I've been around myself, but I have no tolerance for people. I'm the kind of guy that's not politically correct.
Well, you see, I figured if I've got to spend 5 weeks on the road with this
You
person,
better be nice.
I'm gonna. If they say something that I don't agree with, I would just walk away from it,
Yeah.
or just say, "Well, that might be what you think, but I'm going over here." Because I've got to see that person tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day.
Well, that's a great attitude.
We did have a problem with one of the backing singers,
Uh,
who was Australian. She was hired in, and Susie is a very perceptive person, and she saw straight away this girl was going to be trouble. And there was a moment when she got us all together without her and said, "Right, we all know what we're thinking. Let's just get through this because we've got another 4 weeks. So let's just do it." And
so,
a very good band leader she was.
yeah, well, she knew how to handle everybody.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then
yeah.
musically, I guess she had some good things going on.
Very good. In fact, I think she's not always given credit for being a very good bass player,
Okay.
and a good singer and a good songwriter. She was a very good band leader to work with.
I
I
was
really liked it. I really liked it.
I was listening to some of her stuff that she was doing on YouTube, and then
Yeah,
she sounded really nice. Did you do any recording at all with
I
her?
did a lot. I did a lot of recording with her, but nothing you'll find.
Okay.
Um, I didn't do any albums that got released, but we did a lot of recording together.
That's a great experience, right?
Yeah, yeah. Because she's a bass player.
Uh-huh.
She's not just somebody who had a lot of hits in the '70s. She's a musician. She's a bass player. So we go into the studio the same way that any drummer and bass player would go in, and we try this and we try that. Um, and she'd invariably ending up using a much simpler bass line than she started off with. Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh. Well, she started to get into it a little bit.
Well, she'd always come in and say, let's do this, and I'd go, yeah, 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 and I'll catch that. But after 2 or 3 takes, you'd end up saying, it's getting a little busy now, and then she'd just go down to root. And she'd always end up with a good bass line. In fact, a lot of her hit singles, she played bass on all of them, and they're good lines. They're good bass lines. No one told her what to do. She come up with that stuff,
That's
and
great.
I don't think she gets as much credit as she deserves. I think.
Well, that's usually the case. It's
Yeah,
like the guys that really get credit or people that get credit, they don't really contribute a whole lot of talent to the music. It's just because they look good or, and they're
yeah.
backed up with this all digital stuff and whatever.
And
But,
she came out of the glam rock thing in the UK. The
uh,
early '70s was the era of glam rock. We had Mark Bolan, that kind of thing. She came out of that era, and as a result, wasn't always taken as seriously as she maybe could have been. But if she'd been more of more seen as more of a rock and roll act, I think things might have been slightly different. I don't know.
what's the matter?
What?
Where are you? I can hear somebody in the background.
Oh, it might be one of my sons.
Oh, okay. That's cool. My daughter's watching. She's in the other room on the other computer.
Oh, is that Bella?
Bella the Fox.
Yeah, and my friend Hugh Reese is here.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
How you doing? What's it? You, Reese? Hello,
Hugh
you.
Reese. Yeah, I can see his name.
Uh-huh. I said hello to her.
Okay,
All
him.
right. You know what? I did a live lesson on YouTube last night, and my little daughter Bella was on with me.
Oh, good.
Yeah, she's really she wants to play. She went to band rehearsal at the school last night. She came and spent the whole hour with me doing paradiddles and whatever. And
Oh, good.
10 years old.
Good. Well done. Good.
Yeah,
Oh,
well, they
hi,
love it.
Hugh.
Let's talk about drum sense.
Yes.
All right, we're going to push this thing. I heard so much about it. I'm on the mailing list, and
Good.
I hear drum sense USA, drum sense England.
Yeah.
Could you explain that?
Right. So, what drum sense is? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a teaching program, and I have to stress that it's not a course or a curriculum or a syllabus. It's not a question of me telling people how to teach. Drum sense is a teaching program, and I put it together something like 15 years ago in a rush of energy, which I would find hard to replicate now. um, uh, in response to something I was hearing from drummers who wanted to teach, very keen to teach drums, but we didn't really know how to get started or how to get beyond the third or the fourth lesson, or even I've got this guy doing this. What do I do now? So I put together a teaching program, which is has five major areas: as drum kit technique, snare drum technique, reading, Latin, jazz. Now, obviously, you wouldn't start with jazz. You'd start with just playing the drums, learning to play the drums. So that's drum kit technique. And what I do is I franchise this program out to drummers who are interested in teaching, not necessarily to teachers, because teachers already they know how they're teaching. They've got their own program. Someone who's been teaching for 15 years is unlikely to need the sort of thing that DrumSense can give them. But someone who is teaching kind of maybe a little bit part-time and finds that they really enjoy it, but they only get a student so far and they don't really want to do next, that's where DrumSense is very useful, because we can help that teacher make decisions about where to take that student using the program. And I figured that if I was going to sell this to anyone, I've just had a Facebook message from my friend James Sharp.
Yeah, hey, how's he doing?
He's doing very well. He's asking me if my camera's turned off. It's not turned off. James, I don't know why we can't get a picture, but the camera is definitely on.
Tell him to say hello in the chat.
Yay, hello, James. But what I was going to say next was, if I was going to sell this program, franchise it out, I needed to give the subscriber a little bit more than just a teaching program. So what I started to do was put together flyers and business cards and even headed letters, so that the teacher is actually buying into a brand name, which is DrumSense. So when they have a business card saying that they are a DrumSense teacher, and they get all that stuff printed up as part of the subscription fee, if you see what I mean.
Yep.
So it's a package.
Well, I think that's a great idea.
Well, the best thing about it is I'm not telling anyone what to do. I don't think it's my place to tell people how to teach. What I'm saying is, if you're thinking that you enjoy teaching and you like teaching, which is the most important thing, isn't it? It's no good being a fantastic drummer if you're a rubbish communicator. You've got to be a good teacher. So if you're considering teaching drums as part of your career, then DrumSense can help you. We can help you put that together.
That's a good guidance. I mean, nothing out there. That's the only thing I know that's out there that does that.
Yeah, because I think the things that I've seen that might be similar to DrumSense, they're based on a character. There's somebody saying, this is what I do, and if you want to do it too, I'll sell it to you. Well, I'm not doing that. I'm not saying. I'm saying, yeah, I put the program together, but if you use the program, I can guarantee it'll work. But you're not doing it because of me. You're doing it because it looks like a good idea.
Right. Well, you know what?
So I'm not selling my character to people. I'm selling them a program that will work if they use it.
What to follow, right? You're giving them a program of what to follow when they teach or how to teach. You're not telling them. You're not telling them how to do it. I don't tell
them how to do it. I give them what to do, but I don't tell them how to do it. So it's not. They're not using my method. I think that's the key thing. DrumSense isn't a method. It's not. They're not using my method. It's their own method.
Right.
But it's the DrumSense program.
I like that. That's really good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been teaching since the Civil War in the United States.
Yeah.
And that's a long time. And what you're saying is they didn't have that when I first started, and I didn't know where to go. Next lesson, what am I going to do? And what I used to do, all right, is sit down and play for a half hour and just say goodbye.
Yeah.
That's what I used to do.
Yeah.
But then I started to evolve around other teachers and see how they were working. And what
Yeah.
you're doing now, and what you have out there for the guys that want to teach or the ladies that want to teach, is unbelievable, man. That's a really good thing.
Well, in fact, I'll tell you a little story. Uh, I knew a singer who used my program. She wasn't even a drummer. She was a very good musician. And I caught her one day with my book, Drum Sense Volume 1, and she had a pair of, and she was sitting behind the drum and she was going through it. And I said, why are you doing that? And she said, because there's a kid round the corner of me who wants some drum lessons. And I know him, and I said I might give him some drum lessons. So I'm just going for it with your book. And she could play it.
Mm-hmm.
And she taught this guy, this little guy, for about 6 months just by using the program, because she was a good communicator, she was a good teacher, but she wasn't really a drummer. Now that's a little extreme.
Yeah.
But my attitude is, if I show you how to go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and just a basic beat on the drum sense, then I'm teaching you. I'm showing you something that you didn't know how to do. Mm-hmm. So I've just given you a lesson.
Right.
That doesn't make me a genius. That just makes me a good teacher.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the most important thing. So the frequently asked question, what do I need to be a drum sense teacher? What qualifications do I need? What do you want to see me do? I always say that you just have to like teaching. 1, 2, and 3. Like teaching. Because if you don't like teaching, you ain't going to be any good anyway.
Well, if you want to talk about me, I love teaching. And I actually have done the same thing you've done in the life behind a drum set. You know, you went on the road, you came back, you got married, you stay home, you don't feel like doing it, you're focused on education now.
Yeah.
But education is so beautiful, and I love teaching little kids. They're so beautiful. They actually give me better lessons than the adults. Unbelievable.
Well, an interesting way of looking at is sometimes you think who's your best student, and your best student isn't always the one who can play the drums the best. Mm-hmm. The best student is the one who tries the hardest
and who's sincere.
Yeah. So they might not even be doing very well at their lessons, but they're trying really, really hard, and they turn up every time. They've always practiced. They're never late. They're knocking on the door, and that's your best student, really.
Would you mind if we talk a little bit about your approaches, somewhat, or
what, to teaching?
Yeah.
No, that's fine. It's a shame we can't get this camera going.
Well, we're going to work on that.
All
right, and we're going to do this again.
Yeah.
Well, you know why you can't get it on? You know why? I'm looking at your screen, and you see the blue circles and a red one.
What, on YouTube?
Yeah, no, on
Skype.
On Skype, you have your camera off.
Do I?
Yeah. Here you come.
Oh, look.
Hello.
How did that happen?
I don't know. Let me ask. Hold on a minute.
Can everyone see me now?
I hope. Wait, I'm going to ask them.
Oh, look, hang on. Something's happening. Oh, there you go.
There, you're on.
All right. Oh, I didn't realize that was off.
How'd I get on? Can they see you? I don't know. You're on Skype.
I'm going to type in.
Hold on. I don't know. I don't understand what they're talking about. What does that mean?
What? FFS?
Yeah.
I could tell you, but it's a bit rude. I think it's James calling me an idiot.
All right, they could see you. That's great.
Yeah,
That's good. Hey, nobody wants to see me. I'm too old for this. Anyway.
So my approach to teaching, you were asking?
Yeah.
Is well, first of all, it's not my job to tell anyone they can't play. So I've never sacked a student. My approach is that I'm a professional teacher of the drums, which means if you pay me, I'll teach you. If you don't practice and you come back and you still pay me, I'll still teach you. if you really, really don't practice, then somewhere along the line, I will suggest that you're throwing your money away. But if you want to give me some more money, I'll still teach you.
That's good.
That's my attitude. So it's not my job to not teach you. Okay. I will also, it's my job to get you as good as you want to be. Now, if that means you want to be a professional drummer, I can help you do that. I can get you good enough to go out and try and get work competing with some of the best drummers in the country, which you must never forget. But I can help you do that. If your ambition is to have a drum set at home in a back room that you occasionally go and play, and that's your ambition, then I can help you do that too. Mm-hmm. It's not my job to tell you how far you want to take it. I will get you as good as you want to be. That's the bottom line. So when we start the program, I'm saying to myself, well, I know what's coming next. I'm going to get this guy as far along this program as I can get. But if you get somebody so far and you say, all right, we really need to learn to read properly now, read seriously, and then their lessons start to go downhill, then I'm not doing my job. I have to move that student somewhere else, get them interested in drumming some other way, and just keep those lessons going for as long as possible. That's my attitude.
I have the same kind of problem or issue, rather. Okay, everybody wants to come and play drums. Everybody wants to be Buddy Rich or Neil Peart or Tony Williams without taking any lessons. And
well, that's actually kind of my attitude is anti that. Because a lot of, I'd get a lot of beginners. They don't know who they want to be. I very rarely get someone saying, can you get me to play like Tony Williams? Mostly those people are already doing it. Or if someone says that, I'm going to say, no, just go and buy some records. Go and listen to Tony Williams. I can't show you how to do that.
Well, at least you're honest.
Well, yeah. But I might say, well, look, here's some phrases that I know he used. Here's some, like with Buddy Rich, you might help someone out by saying, well, he used a lot of single strokes. So where you're trying to play a paradiddle, Buddy might not have done that. He might have done it all with singles. Now go away and have another look and have a think about it. So that might be helpful. But I think most people just want to play drums for fun, and how much fun they get out of it is up to them in the end. If fun is just playing in a weekend pub band and they're having fun doing that, that's great. But if they want to go on tour, then they have to get good enough to do that. It's supposed to be fun, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Let's never lose sight of that.
Hard work as well.
Yeah.
It
but it's fun doing the work, If you're trying to get that, desperately trying to get that to work for you.
No showing off.
That's part of that. Wasn't showing off. That's part of the fun.
Absolutely.
Fun is to achieve that and work at that.
Well, you know what? I kind of like, my approach is just a little bit different, and yours is like, you're accepting it for fun. I get excited. Yeah. I think everybody wants to be a drummer for the rest of their life. That's sometimes bad.
Yeah, well,
but what I do is, my approach is, I don't really teach anybody how to play. My attitude is, nobody can teach you how to play except the music.
Right.
But I can show you some patterns or what's evolving or the concept or the theory.
Yeah. Well, what was I going to say? That actually, the next thing I was going to say about my teaching attitude is, okay, what I want you to do, I'm trying to teach people to think for themselves. Mm-hmm. So if I was better at doing that, then no one would come to me for lessons because they'd all be thinking for themselves. But I'm trying to get somebody to say, right, 1 + 1 equals what? Equals 2. Add another one. Equals 3. Add another one. So I'm saying, if I do, here's a simple rock beat, let's add another bass drum though. Let's move that bass drum to there. What if we do this? What if we do that? And that concept can go very, very large. You know, you can take that from a beginner's lesson to anything in stick control, which I know we're all a big fan of. So take that line, what if I do? So what I do show all the students certain what I call templates that they can apply to anything they ever learn. And that's in the first book. The beginners learn how to do that. And I'll give you an example.
That's the drum sense book?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. If I play an accented pattern, there's groups of 4, okay? Those accents can be played on the toms and they can be played on the cymbals. And when you play them on the cymbals, you back that up with a bass drum note. Okay?
Okay.
Simple. But a beginner learning that's a big deal for them. But they're learning more than playing groups of 4 around the kit. That's the template. So if I now say, let's fast forward 3 years, and I'm now saying, okay, here's a roll. Okay? And I show that to a student because they're learning how to play these kind of phrases. And they play the accents on the toms and they play the accents on the cymbals with a bass drum underneath. So do you see what I'm saying? That early concept gets used again and again and again. And as the student gets more advanced, those templates become more difficult. But you end up with 6 kind of templates that you can apply to any sticking pattern, and they will produce results. But it's not the result always that's the point of the lesson. It's the thinking process. I'm trying to get you to say, if I do that, this happens. But what if I do that? Oh, that happens. And if I now do that, that'll happen. That's and that, again, that's from day one. That's from the first lesson I ever give. I'm showing that student, here's a beat. What if I play that beat as 16th notes? What if I play that beat with a hi-hat open and shut? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's, and those things get, those things get used again and again and again.
That's a great concept, and that's a good attitude.
Yeah.
And you don't teach everybody the same. You direct it towards their personality or their involvement or their passion.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. James Sharp said, and I like you. Could you see that in the chat there?
It's about freedom within a structure.
Yeah.
Man, he's a bit of an old hippie, James.
James has got to say, like if I was 10 years old just starting, I wouldn't understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then James is a nice guy. I like James.
Yeah, we all like James.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that freedom within a structure, because there's a phrase that not a musical phrase, a speaking phrase that I use with students quite a lot is, I'm going to show you something you can improvise with, but there is a set phrase which you must play, but how you orchestrate that phrase, how you move that phrase around the drums is entirely up to you. So that's the improvisation. So the freedom is to move that phrase around the drums in ways that we've discussed and in any order you like. But the structure, the discipline, is to keep that sticking going, keep that roll going. You see what I mean?
Yep.
So you're not allowed to, in that lesson situation, you're not allowed to busk. You have to get it right. You have to get the sticking right.
Absolutely.
But how you move it around, you can improvise that.
Well, that's being an artist.
Yeah.
And give them the freedom, like James just said. But they have to know what that means inside of a structure.
Well, that's the lesson. I mean, that's what I'm trying to show them from day one.
How do you feel sometimes you get anybody with bad attitudes, or they have an attitude like, I'm better, I'm faster, or that kind of thing?
Well, actually, I can probably say this quite safely, that I teach at a couple of academies in London, and occasionally, I mean, these are guys or girls that are kind of 14, 15, 16 years old. Some of them can play really well. In fact, a lot of them can play really well. And occasionally you get one who you sometimes wonder why they've signed up for the lessons, because they're not practicing. You can show them something, and you get a kind of lazy attitude
Uh-huh.
from them. And one guy even, I'm thinking of someone in particular, and he shambles into a lesson. He can play, this guy. He can play all right. But he doesn't light up when you show him something he doesn't know. He kind of has a bit of a go at it. And if it doesn't work for him straight away, he's kind of, oh, I don't think I can do that. And he turned up for one lesson, and I said, did you practice that? It was a paradiddle thing, you know, did you practice that? And he kind of half-heartedly went at it. And I said, yeah, that's it. Now, look, move that to there, put this here, da-da-da. And he struggled with it for about 30 seconds. And then he said, we didn't do this last week. And I said, no, it's called a lesson. I've shown it to you. You didn't do it last week.
Yeah, well, I have.
No, but I don't get, I mean, that's probably the worst I ever get, you know.
You know, being on Facebook and, you know, in all my experiences, I've noticed a lot of drummers always are classifying themselves like who's better, who's great, I'm faster, and I don't really go with that. I mean, I think that we're all on the same journey of getting better or learning more.
And it's probably just as well to think that, because with the advent of YouTube, we now know how many millions of great drummers there are out there.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
you can't compete. You cannot compete. So you just have to do your best within your own environment, musical environment, and never show up late and always try your hardest. That's the best you can do. You can't be better than that guy. And even if you were, you could be better than that guy. It's not a game of who's better. It's a game of
The term being
who
better,
delivers the goods, you know.
being better sometimes gets confused with being different.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Like I say to my students, you know, we could take a tune and have 5 drummers sitting in the room and play it, each one individually. You'll play the tune, but you all guys are sounding different.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's what it's supposed to be like. Hello? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, sorry. I thought you'd fallen over.
No. I'm just,
The other thing I wanted to say is that the first 20 years of my career were playing all the gigs you can imagine.
Yep.
So touring with Susie was one aspect of that career, but there's no situation regarding sitting behind a set of drums that I haven't done.
Okay.
And that was my ambition when I left school to play drums. I wanted to play everything. I didn't want to be one drummer. I didn't want to be a rock and roll drummer or a jazz drummer. I like a lot of musicians, you just take anything that gets thrown at you, and I really enjoyed that.
You're well rounded.
You have to. I thought you had to be.
Yeah, well, that's what I think too.
I didn't end up teaching. I just decided after 20 years of all that malarkey that I kind of had everything I was going to do. I also was pretty certain that Eric Clapton was not going to call me up. So I thought, well, if he's not going to call me, then I'll. So I've been winding down that whole gig thing, and I really wanted to concentrate on teaching, which is why I got Drums.this up and going, and it's why I wrote the books. So I can see myself riding off into the distance, into the sunset, teaching drums.
There you go.
Which is a great place to be, I can tell you.
Yeah.
And I frequently get asked, do you miss gigging? And the answer is not really no.
Well, it's not so much playing music; it's gigging every night or whatever, and being married, and you know, you want to have a family life as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, 20 years of being on the road and playing gigs every night or every other night or whatever. Yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah, it was.
And especially when you get 70 years old, you got to like slow down.
I imagine, yeah.
But anyway, we got confused here about the time, but I'm enjoying myself. Okay. I'm gonna have to close this up in about 5 or 10 minutes. Okay.
Can I? In that case, can I show you something?
Sure.
So, one of the Drums.this concepts is whatever sticking pattern you have. If you have 2 options, you can play hand to hand, or you can have what I call alternative sticking. And a good example of alternative sticking is a paradiddle. So if I want to make this sound, that's hand-to-hand sticking, right? The alternative to that is a paradiddle. Now you'll notice that it sounds exactly the same. Both those things sound the same. Okay? But, so why use a paradiddle at all? If it sounds the same as single strokes, why bother doing it? Because as you know, the paradiddle gets a stick up in the air, which is, and this is an important phrase, it's a gear shift. So I teach the paradiddle as an alternative sticking to a group of 4, which represents a gear shift, which is demonstrated like this. There's the gear shift.
Yeah.
And now we get faster with less effort. So that's not just teaching a paradiddle, that's teaching a concept of alternative sticking. Here's another one. Groups of 3. There's the hand-to-hand sticking. Here's the alternative. See what I mean? Getting that stick up. The other thing that does is that changes the access to the drum set, because with the hand-to-hand sticking, you'll see the accents are falling on a different hand every time.
Right.
With the alternative sticking, you're making the same sound, but the accents are staying on this hand, which means I've got access to that side of the drum set. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas with the other sticking, I wouldn't have access to this side.
I like that. That's a great
So the alternative sticking concept changes the way you access the drum set. Mm-hmm. So if we take a paradiddle diddle, if we take groups of 6, that is a paradiddle diddle. That's the alternative sticking. Now, that not only sounds the same, but when I change to alternative sticking, the accent stays on the same hand. But with the alternative sticking, you have a right hand pattern and a left hand pattern, which you don't with the hand-to-hand sticking, because both hands are playing single strokes. So if I take my paradiddle diddle, which is my alternative sticking, and I isolate the hands, you get this. See what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Things going on with different hands.
That's a great approach.
If you take what I do with everybody, and I do this at clinics as well, just take a bar of 16th notes, split that 16th notes into different numbers, and you get a rhythm. So if I said 4, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I like that.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's your hand-to-hand sticking.
Uh-huh.
The alternative sticking to that would be paradiddle, left, right, right. 5 is paradiddle tap, 1, 2, 1, 2. There's no alternative to 2 because it's just 2.
Okay.
So now I've got, here's the hand-to-hand. Sorry. Alternative. See what I mean?
Nice. That's real nice.
So you're hearing the same sound, but I've got a different sticking. So then, you see what I mean?
Yep.
So I've still got the same accents, but I've turned it into something completely different with this concept of alternative sticking. So that attitude of trying to get the student to think for themselves, if I give them the rules, there's the alternative sticking, 3, 4, 5, 6. Those are the rules. Now go play. See?
No, that's like a structure of a tune. You follow the rules. That's really, you know what? From observing you on Facebook and your responses to people, you're a really happy-go-lucky kind of sincere, secure person, in my opinion.
I like to think
so. Well, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I really enjoy talking to you.
Handsome? No? Okay.
Oh, you're handsome too, all right? Don't make me laugh. Anyway, I really enjoyed today, and I would like to do this someday again as soon as we can. As soon as I could as soon as I could figure out the Skype thing, what you want to screen, make
Yeah.
you bigger. This is the first one. I have some other guests coming. I have like what you call it, Mike Clark,
Yeah.
Daniel Glass. Uh, I don't know if you know some of the guys. Dennis Lee Fang. I have Rick Lathman.
Oh, no, Rick, really well.
Yeah, he's going to be doing one as well.
He's a big fan of mine.
Is he? Good, good. And I can't do too many because I'm involved with my live online lessons.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
every occasion I will do this. I really learned a lot from you. Do you do
Oh,
any?
thank
You do any Skype lessons?
Not really. I've not because I don't want to. It's more because I'm pretty busy.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm doing a lot of gardening today, for example. No, it was. But I'd like to do that again and get a bit more in depth in that about that alternative sticking thing.
Well, why don't we do that? Why don't we
Yeah.
have when I can fix this screen? Maybe
Yeah.
you could do a lesson
Yeah.
and give them your concept.
James and Hugh know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, they deal with you.
They do. Yeah. Yeah.
This is the first time I'm speaking to you, verbally as opposed to on the keyboard here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I really enjoyed myself. and you gave everybody, what's this, 2 sheds? What does he mean?
It's an in joke.
Aha! James, chill out.
I do have 2 sheds, and one of them needs tidying up.
All right. Well, listen, I really have to get off.
Okay.
I don't mean to cut you short. I could stay here all day and talk to you.
I'm sure anyway.
But, and we're going to do another one as soon as possible, if you like.
Right.
And
Oh,
maybe
yeah, sure.
I could get you and say Mike Clark at the same
Okay.
time.
Wow. Okay.
And you can compare concepts. I mean, Mike Clark comes to my studio here.
Right.
And man, that guy swings.
Yeah,
Man,
yeah.
He could play so well. And he likes to, everybody refers to him as a funk drummer. And he goes, I'm confused. I like to play jazz. Everybody thinks I'm funky. But he's a good guy, very humble, like you. And that's what makes people good. Like yourself. I mean, you play very well. I see your hands. But you're humble. And you're down to earth.
There's so many people who are great, you have to understand your place in there,
Absolutely.
in amongst those people.
Some people get upset if you don't treat them like royalty in the drum world.
and some people are too down on themselves.
Yeah, well,
it works both ways,
all I do is when I wake up in the morning at 7 years old, I think I'm up.
Yeah.
But, I just can't wait to see where I'm going today with the drums.
Yeah.
It's a great journey, and I just love every minute of it. Like, and you just inspired me just now. And last night when I was doing a live lesson and I told him about you're going to be here. See, the problem with this is the time zones.
Yeah, sure.
And it's like 8 o'clock. I mean, 9 o'clock at your time. Is it 9 o'clock or something?
It's
like
9
that?
o'clock now. Yeah, yeah.
Well, here it's only 4 o'clock.
Right.
And people are getting out of work, so they're not on YouTube.
Well, we can do a late one.
Hold on. This is going to be taped as well.
Right.
So if you want to watch it, you go onto YouTube and watch it.
Okay.
But if you want to do something live, the best thing to do, in my opinion, would be a Saturday or Sunday.
Okay, we could do that.
Because if it's Sunday, everybody's home.
Yeah, we could do that.
Okay.
Very good. So look, let me leave you with that.
Okay.
16th notes, 1 eander, 2 eander, 3 eander, 4 eander. Chop them up into little numbers. 3, 3, 3, 4, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, whatever. I just made that up, honestly. Accents on toms, accents on silver. You can roll it. 3, 3, 3. What was it? I said 3, 3, 3, 4. See what I mean? You roll it as well. And then the alternative sticking. You know what I mean?
I like that concept.
And you start getting other things coming out.
Okay. Colin, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed myself. And you are an inspiration.
Thank you very much.
We are.
Hugh is suggesting we have some Prosecco if it's Sunday. Yeah.
What is Prosecco? What is that?
It's cheap champagne.
Okay.
Well, that's slightly unfair description of it, but it's a fizzy wine that's not as expensive as champagne.
Okay. Well, listen, I need to go.
All right, mate.
All right. I thank you so very much. And next
Thank you.
time I'll have more time to advertise it, and we'll get you going crazy.
Fantastic. Thanks, man.
Okay? Thank you. Have a good night, man.
Bye. See ya.
All
Bye.
right. Ready?